Okay, so I answered them. So let me go ahead and be the monster. If do any of the hunters want to know? I'm going to wait for the hunters to land, and I'll kind of show you and kind of give you a tour about different feeding routes. There's on this way, there's one of three things. There's one where they go straight to the left, which is probably the most popular. There's one where you go down the river and you turn right halfway down, and then you start working your way up towards the dam, because from there you can gauge to evolve in the northwest corner or the southeast, or go all the way to the end and then head... I'm trying to think of cardinal directions. Left, whatever left is. Because that way, a lot of the times you'll see the hunters because they're coming towards you, because they usually come that way. And then you can sometimes get enough food and then evolve into the northwest corner.
Just for the future, the left side's south and the right side's north on the map.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think. Let's do blue. Okay, so this is not going to be a real build. I don't know why I picked movement speed. Oh well, it doesn't really matter because we're not fighting.
Thanks for waiting.
No worries. I'm actually saving up. There's actually a tip the cow button below Trojan.
MaddCow say to me, I heard something about my orbital.
Oh, I'll be uploading his videos. Basically, you did really good as a support. The orbital before he evolved to stage 3 was pretty perfect. You orbitaled and cloaked at the same time. He had no idea where he went, but the medic kind of gave you away.
I wasn't sure if it was a phone call, so I heard about every other word.
No worries.
This time he praised you.
I expected to sneak past the moment I go out of position. I'm ready for it. I'm just gonna get scared in real life.
Okay. So for those watching, basically we're going to do a quick walkthrough of the dam, kind of showing optimal feeding routes, as well as popular monster routes.
Yeah, it's MaddCow,
and
so...
What was that?
Nothing.
Okay, so pretty much the optimal way is the monster will just go this way and just kind of eat, and pretty much only stops for striders and or mammoth birds.
I am so happy you're doing this with us too, because I really wanted to.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
By the way, if you ever are wondering, the healing grenade from Kyra actually puts the monster in combat if you hit him with it.
They do what in combat?
So,
oh wow.
Yeah, it actually puts it. So right now, there's 2 mammoth birds over here that I could eat that takes me through the caves, or there's 2 more over here. But regardless, 4 mammoth birds I've already eaten by the time the hunters have already come out, which means I only need 1 more, and then I'm ready to evolve. So this is a really strong start. Plus, worst case scenario, if for some reason you're lollygagging around, this is a very good area to be domed. There's many, many pillars. There's a lot of elite wildlife. There's heavy or deep water over here. So this is a very scary area to fight any monster in, regardless of stage. Even a stage 1 monster can be scary. Like, you knock one person this way towards a mammoth, or not a mammoth bird, a dune beetle if they spawn over there. Sometimes there's a mega mouth over here, but all in general, this is just a really shitty spot to fight as a hunter. Probably the worst on the map, which is why a lot of monsters like to come to this area to evolve. So a lot of times the monster will get anywhere from 3 to 5 mammoth birds eaten, and then they'll start heading through the caves. The reason why they go through the caves is because a lot of times there's a lot of different pillars, which means you can kind of juke around if need be, or if they don't juke, they can find where the trapper is. So if the trapper's this way, I can want to go straight this way, head to the northwest section of the map, and get ready to evolve right off the bat. And that will put me in a very, very strong position because the trapper is not going to be able to dome me before I evolve. And I might be able to even get a clean evolve depending on how far away there is. Some meta stuff for Goliath is always try and use Leap Smash or Leap your Traversal whenever you're on the top of a ledge, because you'll get a lot more distance. Sorry if I'm cutting off. My tilde is my push to talk, and it's awkward walking with that.
You tilde?
Right.
That's what mine is too. That's why they put it on voice activate.
That's so weird.
I'm a weird kind of person. So I guess I'll go ahead and explain this. So this is this is probably the evolution spot. I think probably more monsters evolve on this spot on this map more than anywhere else put together probably. There's usually a lot of food. You kill a couple of the reavers or striders up here. This dune beetle has been a deciding vote for games before. So if you're stage 1, the dune beetle actually will engage you, and if you try and evolve, don't kill it. Oh, I'm not ready to evolve. That's why. I'm like, where's my evolve button? So if you try and evolve right here, the dune beetle will actually knock you back, and it will actually cancel the evolution process. I've actually seen a couple of games where the monster will actually lose because they go to evolve, and this thing knocks them around a couple of times, and they can't get their evolve spot. So if you're a monster, just always be careful of this little asshole. He's really, really, really a jerk. But I'm not going to evolve. It's fine. And so this is a very popular area. You can't get orbitaled. If you evolve back like right around here, it's very hard for Cabot to land a dust tag. The only way for it to land is if Cabot lands it like right in this little spot right here. And a lot of times the hunters aren't going to be able to go ahead and be in that spot or location.
I just remember we brought this spot up. I did a little bit of a YOLO orbital last game where he was up by the power relay, which is why I thought he was running to the spot where I couldn't even orbital him.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I was talking about. That I was telling them that it was an interesting play because in super high level play, when people expect the monster to always evolve under cover, it would be absolutely brilliant because it's something that they don't expect, and that's why I think there's so much depth to this game because it's very similar to poker and other games like Netrunner. Like I talk about Netrunner LCG all the time. It really is one of my favorite games of all time because there's so.
Awesome.
It's amazing. I love it. I won every single regional and tournament that I went to for a solid year and a half before I got into Evolve and some other stuff. But it's a fantastic game, and it really is one of those things that like you're playing your opponent, not necessarily a game. And so if you can get into the mind of how your players or the meta works, especially with hunters or monsters, you can do a lot of really cool shenanigans that seem suboptimal, but they're conditioned to act a certain way, and that actually helps you out.
So, I think I just noticed this, but the health bar pops up, I guess, when you're in combat and only then?
Correct.
Yep.
That's good enough.
Yep. So basically, it's I believe it's 70 meters. It might be 60. I can't remember. It's been a while since they've changed. But basically, if the monster's like very far away, feel free to shoot it. Otherwise, don't shoot it because it's going to go where. So another popular strategy for monsters is to just go and burn traversals down the water. The reason why is because it doesn't leave any tracks, and you can usually get enough distance for right around here. So this is usually the break area. So sometimes monsters like to go up and to the right, and the reason why is because they can go up here. There's usually enough striders. Sometimes there's 2 or 3 reavers right here. There's none right now. I don't know if we killed them or scared them. There's sometimes dune beetles, but dune beetles don't ever get killed at stage 1. In fact, I'd even argue at stage 2 it's incorrect to go after the dune beetles. But then you go up here and you make your way towards the dam. And the reason why is because if the hunters are following you, you'll be able to smell them right around here. And then at this point, sorry, that's my son in the background. So then at this point, you can smell and if you can tell if the hunters see you or not. If not, you can usually keep going, get a little bit more food, and then you're in a perfect position. If the trapper's in this direction, you can go to the northwest and try and get to an evolve. If the trapper is behind me towards this direction, then you can go this way and evolve in towards that little shitty kind of corner over area. And those are both solid areas to go ahead and get as a monster.
When you said right here, when you would smell, where were you assuming the hunters were coming from?
So the most splits happen is that they'll send the assault and medic 80 to 90% of the time will always go this way, looking for signs of food and or brush damage is going this way. The reason why is because that's, again, one of the most optimal routes, so it makes sense to send the assault and medic that way. The trapper and support will usually be up here. If they're a griffin, they like to put a sound spike up here, immediately head over here, and then put sound spikes over here. Sometimes they will actually split where the support and assault, support and trapper are over here, going down river, looking for signs of food. So when you're over here, this will be able to be when they smell, you'll be able to see them right here. And if you don't smell them, you can just eat over there and then kind of make your play based on where you think they're going.
Alright, what do you think is the most optimal perk on Goliath? I like to either run movement speed, feeding speed, or smell range.
It kind of depends. I think that those 3 are good until you have a good feel. Those are what I call staging up perks, and they're really good for when you're trying to get better map awareness. But in combat, I think, the game is won or lost in domes. Like, there's just nothing around it. So yes, you might be able to get to stage 2 faster. You might be able to shake the hunters a little bit longer. But against teams, you're going to get domed, and domes are where games are won or lost. So I feel combat perks are by far the most important. So damage increase, damage resistance, cooldown reduction, or there's another combat one I'm trying to think of, but I can't call it off the top of my head.
Stamina?
No, not stamina. I think stamina is actually pretty lousy for the most part.
Alright. Yeah, I think honestly, because I remember the last game you coached me in when I first met you, you told me Rocto was my weakest ability. And I actually agreed on that, and I switched Rocto for Flame Breath, because it's more consistent damage.
Yes.
But I believe 10% damage per will actually help the dot damage and the overall Flame Breath damage.
Correct. Yeah, and so that's really good. And so yeah, so I think that out of those three, movement speed, smell, or feeding, I think Goliath benefits from feeding the most. The reason why is because you can usually get a huge traversal, like over here, whee! Go kill something, eat it, and then your traversal's refreshed. So then you use it again, use another traversal, eat something again, and your traversal should be back up again because you're feeding perk. So out of those three, I think feeding's probably the best. Also, it helps combat against Laz in domes because you can eat a body if the situation provides it. And if you're in a dome and they're not being super aggressive, you can get armor from it. I do think that the combat perks are slightly more important in really high-level play, but when you're definitely not as confident, or especially on the map knowledge, I feel that the feeding perk is actually really strong for Goliath.
So what'd you say was good for high-level play?
Combat perks. I strongly feel that Go ahead.
I'll just take cookies here.
Oh, nice.
You just got here. Captain.
Sweet. So we will go ahead and...
meters, by the way, for combat range.
Yeah, is it 60? Yeah, because I noticed they changed that, and I think the dome used to be 70, and now it's 60 as well. So I know they changed a few of those mechanics a while ago.
Compare angle, but I think it was about 60. I don't know, 50. Can you guys not shoot him for a second?
To answer your question, Alana, so yeah, so you require 15 quote-unquote pieces of meat to evolve to stage 2, and 21 to go from stage 2 to stage 3.
Activating. Get orbally, get bandit.
You orbited me in my face?
Twice.
Okay, so you're saying that the spot where you go straight to the left is a good feeding route.
Yes.
The juke into the tunnel, traversal across. Most people evolve over here, so you can't see the pings.
In the northwest.
Yeah.
Here,
Yep.
he's saying.
Especially for Goliath. The reason why is because Goliath, sometimes you start with charge. It kind of depends on your build. Like charge, putting 1 point in charge is not a bad idea because you can charge through the tunnels to get elevation, whereas leap, sometimes you hit the ceiling and you don't get as far. But going across river, leap is amazingly good because you can pretty much cross it with one every single time, and it really slows down the hunters. And you always want to try and leap downhill as opposed to uphill because you get a lot more distance and speed going downhill than uphill.
Also note that trying to make your experience as active as possible takes 2 jetpack boosts to get across that river from points.
Oh, that's something else I was going to talk to you guys about combat. When it comes to combat, especially a stage 1 monster, there's very, very few times when you need to worry about jetpack. Always use jetpack for repositioning because you're not going to be taking that much damage from a stage 1 monster unless he's got like a weird 3-point into rock throw or 3-point of flame breath all in kind of build, which you don't really see that often. So always try and use your jetpack for repositioning more than dodging. Just because then that way the monster can kind of just run around in circles. So if you ever find that your damage is low, it's usually because you're jetpacking too defensively and not offensively and putting yourself in a better position.
I thought clarify just because I'm pretty sure what to do, but not exactly it. As Hank, I should basically never be shielding against a stage 1 monster, correct? Unless just things go bad somehow.
Pretty much, yeah. Like as stage 1, I probably would never whip out my shield unless the medic is being focused or the person's like at 30% health. maybe 30, 40, depending on how fast the burst of the monster is. Like, for instance, well, it also depends on the monster. Like, for instance, a Wraith, basically you just wait for a Warp Blast, absorb that, and then just go on the cutter for about 6 to 8 seconds, and then go back in time for the next Warp Blast. But generally speaking, most monsters at stage 1 aren't going to be doing super burst, and most people should be able to rely enough on their just general movement skills to be able to go ahead and place him around.
All right, later.
Cool, take it easy. Okay, let's go ahead and back out, and we will reform the group.
Kind of works pretty well with having you being the host.
He normally does. We're coaching, that's why.
That works.
Fonzie,
Give me a second. My stream, I don't think is up.
No,
Let me check.
No, I just said that because you orbited me across the fucking river.
You should drop a link to your stream in the chat here.
I got you, MaddCow.
Ninja.
Maybe I don't got you.